Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today. This is Adam Pitcher's Talkin Atcha live with Bloody Mess and the Skabs, occasionally. This next to me is Bloody Mess, lead singer of the Skabs and other bands along the way. Next to him, we have Gabby Skab, who is the drummer, and we'll call him the roadie too, just because he's big. We're going to start out today's show talking about a few different things that are really irrelevant to everybody else and to me too. First, we're going to talk to Bloody Mess. You've had some bands in your past. I know you started out with, I believe, heavy metal glam rock sort of band.
No, I started out with a band in 1984 called Chips Patrol.
Chips Patrol. That was a few people from Washington, wasn't it? Or
East Peoria.
Yeah,
and we became the Unaccepted. Ended up doing gigs in Chicago with bands like the Necros, MIA, whoever we could play with. Then that later evolved into a band called Hate, which was like your epitome of a punk rock band, stereotypical Mohawks, drinking beer, busting up things, going crazy on stage, like you would see on Quincy or Chips Patrol on TV. And that basically evolved into a few other little projects along the way, spoken word tours, etc. And then, of course, in 1988, Halloween, the Skabs were formed.
Alrighty. There's a question I wanted to ask you about Hate. There's a song you have called Living in Peoria. Now, the lyrics have always puzzled me, just because I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the right thing. It begins out, it's living in Peoria, sure gonna bore ya, no punks or what?
Oi boys.
That's what I thought it was, but nobody believed me.
And that was not Hate, that was Chips Patrol.
That was Chips Patrol?
Yeah, or Unaccepted, one of the two, but it was called Living in Peoria, and believe me, it'll bore ya.
Did Hate ever cover that song?
I don't believe we did.
No?
No.
So, how did the Skabs form in 1988?
Well, I met this character here. We were both at the mental hospital up there on University Zeller, and
Nice
I was just getting out of there for I won't even go into my personal mental problems or anything like that, but I was just getting out, and right when I was checking out, this guy was checking in. At the time, he didn't have blue hair, but we kind of hooked up, and I found out he was a drummer. He found out I was a singer, so we decided to get out and sing and drum, and which we did, therefore forming the Skabs with a couple other losers, and the rest is history.
Okay.
We've established this fine institution of sickness in honor of all the weirdos in the world that do follow weirdos like ourselves, and we think it's great that people are eccentric and a bit unusual.
Alrighty. Now, Gabby, did that bother you to be locked up on Halloween? Because, you know, I love to be out on Halloween, you know, prowl the streets, haunt.
Not at all. Basically, I got locked up there as a result of working in a prison, basically being locked up for 3 years previous to that, and so it was kind of like a vacation to me, actually.
Even though it was Halloween evening?
Well,
All Hallows Eve.
I like the food there.
Well,
yeah?
plus,
So-
everybody there is dressed up all the time. You got people in straitjackets, and you can just pretend like they're dressed up for a festive occasion.
Basically, Halloween is every day to us.
Oh, yeah. every day is Halloween. The mask does not come off.
All right. You just released your third album, record, Empty. Tell us about it.
Empty, the brand new record. Well, we're on Black and Blue Records, based out of Rhode Island. And Empty was just released in January of 1993. It has 5 romantic little ditties for you, including the hit song Empty, which is being played all across the world as we speak. And it includes a free poster inside that was artistically drawn by the Hillside Strangler serial killer.
Let's show that poster for everybody.
Sure.
Now, could you tell us a little bit about the Hillside Strangler, because I really do not know a whole lot about him.
Well, his name's Kenneth Bianchi, and in the late 70s, there was a rash of murders in California involving nude young women being found strewn across the hillsides of L.A. and surrounding areas. They basically scared the hell out of the nation for a while, and when they did catch them, they were dubbed the Hillside Strangler Killers, and one of the killers ended up going to Washington State and repeating these gruesome tasks of murder and self-indulgence. And I began writing to him in a quest to obtain artwork, because I'm a collector of artwork. So in the process, he decided that if the price was right and I was willing to pay, we would do the poster for our record. So there it is. It's history, and it's by Kenneth Bianchi. And the good thing about it, Adam, is that all across the country, kids are buying this record, and they probably have no idea, just like you, who the Hillside Strangler is, right? So there they are. On their bedroom walls, there's these little posters. Oh, look at this cool punk rock poster on my wall. So we're promoting what we should be promoting: sickness, filth, and outrage.
And I'd like you to notice Adam is adorning the record label from our first record,
Yes.
which was drawn by John Wayne Gacy.
Another
Very
pen
good friend
pal
of ours
of
on death
Bloody's?
row at Menard right now.
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy became a friend of the band right when we first started, and he donated the first cover art for our first record, which was released on Mephisto Records in, I believe, 1989, March of '89. That was a 5-song EP. Notice the beautiful skull by Mr. Gacy. That record's out of print now, so you won't find it anywhere.
And the man that put the record out for us, he's disappeared off the face of the earth. We've never heard a word from him. He paid for everything on the record. And
So basically, he knew that we were stars and that he should invest in this institution of filth.
either
And,
that or he was kidnapped and buried in a crawl space somewhere.
Now,
We're
was that-
really not sure.
Was that Dick Urin or Peter Yarmouth? They're pretty much the same person, aren't they?
No, Dick Urin died in a motorcycle accident in Sweden, I believe. I'm not sure what year. I think '84 he died. Peter Yarmouth was his manager on Black and Blue Records, which is also our manager. So there's a big difference between.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I heard the names occasionally, you know, and wasn't quite sure. Who's in the band right now?
Well, you met us, Bloody Mess on vocals, Gabby Skab on drums. Pretty soon you're going to meet our bass player, who's sitting right here on the couch drinking something mysterious in this little styrofoam cup that can't be recycled, or can it? Maybe it can.
That's Kevin Beverage.
Kevin Beverage on bass guitar. And our guitar player, Jeff, could not be here with us today.
Okay. What are some of your favorite local bands?
Personally, some of my favorite punk rock bands in Peoria are Post Nasal Drip. They go by P&D. And I like Frozen at Sea, too. Those are pretty much my 2 favorite bands in the area.
I like those two, and I like Dollface also. I think they're pretty rocking.
There's one band that you didn't mention, and I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. Raw Honey. I just like them because every time you go to one of their shows, there's lots of babes there.
Well, you know, they're cock rock. What do you expect, you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's lots of chicks in skimpy skirts. That's what I like.
Yeah, Raw Honey, they do their thing. I'm
Yeah,
friends
well,
with a couple members here and
Yeah,
there, you know.
The music's okay, you know, but the chicks are great. You've released some other records, haven't you? What are they? What other?
Oh, we're on a CD compilation. It's Bands Only a Mother Could Love, and also another CD compilation, Music to Make Your Ears Heard.
We have a full-length album that we released in '91 called 6th Grade Field Trip. It's available on Black and Blue Records. It's got 15 songs, and it was released on cassette, compact disc, and album. 6th Grade Field Trip, you can find that in local record stores, Peoria.
So I could go up to my local record and tape collective, or whatever the hell they want to call it, even though they're fascists and they don't sell records, I could find it there?
You can find it there.
Alrighty.
And don't steal it because it comes out of our pockets.
Alright.
If you're gonna go steal something, go steal the new Milli Vanilli record or something.
They have a new one out?
I have no idea. I never knew they had an old one out. I just knew that there was a...
It's a good thing, otherwise.
Yeah, Pearl Jam.
I'd have to leave if there was another Milli Vanilli album out.
Yes.
Do you have any problems with places to play?
Well, we do. We pretty much, every time we play anywhere, it's like the last time we play there, basically. We are the band of Peoria, and we don't care.
Now, why is this?
Gabby, would you like to speak on this?
I'm going to interject a little bit here. I've seen you play a few times, and I've never found your behavior so offensive that I wouldn't invite you back into my home.
Well, people just have a small threshold for pain in this town, I guess. They don't realize that when we play a gig, we're uncompromising rock and roll. We pretty much do not play any kind of music that anybody else likes. Most bands, they play what the audience tends to like. We play what we like, and that's how we get our audience, because they come in and they like it, so they become our fans, you know, freaks, whatever you want to call them. And our shows get a little bit out of hand sometimes due to the overindulgence of alcoholic beverages, and other times it's just plain old insanity, man. We lose our minds. The music is so intense that it builds up. It's furious, man. I mean, there's no way in hell that we could stand there and do a safe, sedate punk rock show with our music. We just can't do it. It overwhelms us like a drug or something, you know?
Now, I've heard people say that you're a performance band more than a musical band. Do you believe that?
I'd say we're both.
Oh, I'd say definitely.
We're into-
we're into the theatrics of it all, and you know, we like to put on more than just a music show. We like to give people more than they're used to getting from this area.
Right.
Okay, well, now, in the same line, Alice Cooper was quite the theatrician. Yeah,
Theatrical performer.
That'll work. Now, his original guitar player, Mike Bruce.
Yeah.
You met him?
Yeah, we went to the bar with him. He was in town, Michael Bruce. He wrote 18 and $1 Billion Babies and some other Alice Cooper favorites. We went to Sonny's on Main Street in Peoria and had a few beers. And
Shot some hot dogs at Mr. G's.
we took him to the airport and dropped him off. And
They're good hot dogs, too.
he wants us to do a gig with him, possibly doing an Alice Cooper tribute type band. So hopefully that'll happen sometime at Doc Rocks downtown in Peoria, even though that place sucks. But
Yeah, he's coming back in April. He's going to work on some things with us for a couple weeks and probably put on a live performance down there.
Yeah? I think that'll be pretty exciting.
yeah, that ought to be thrill, action-packed.
Now, when you guys play gigs, do you get paid very often, or?
We get compensated for our time in various different ways. Say no more.
All right. I already know when the band formed. Yeah, I already know that. What are your influences?
Well, I'd say Greg Brady, and when they did their little band debut, you know, trying to rival with the Partridge Family.
Oh, the Brady Kids. Oh, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
They're all big influences in our lives. As a matter of fact, we were with Greg Brady last night, and
Yes, out at the Conklin Players Dinner Theater, we did have dinner with Greg Brady. It was fun. Some of our musical influences include Alice Cooper Band, you know, from way back, of course. We are very much influenced, and I don't know if that's a good word, influence, but yeah, everything we see and take in, we are influenced by. But the things that really positively influence us are the Plasmatics, the Sex Pistols, the Ramones, the Mentors, Fear, the New York Dolls, Dead Boys. We like old punk rock, man. We're a punk rock band. We like punk rock music, and we like other stuff too, but we're primarily into that because we're so hyper and, you know, it fuels our fire. We're influenced by a lot of shit, you know. We're influenced by
Whoops.
censor that. We're influenced by you know, talk shows. We're trash TV. We're influenced by you know, beer. We're influenced by just everything pretty much that makes up a rock and roll lifestyle.
That's pretty cool. I guess I can dig that. I've been there. I am there. For someone who's never been to a Bloody Mess performance, how would you describe a typical show?
Ooh.
Blase, average show, or an exciting show?
Intense, very intense, unpredictable,
You do it intense.
painful,
lots of blood.
It could be funny too. One day we're comedians, the next day we're killers. I mean,
One day you'd think we were Sam Kinison, next day Andrew Dice Clay, then next day you'd
Wally.
think we were a victim of Ted Bundy, you know?
Oh.
Ponder that for a while, don't you? All right, recent write-up in Pekin Times on the scene. How would you describe the Peoria Underground? Non-existent?
The Peoria Underground is it's a rapidly growing thing. We can't deny its existence. There's a lot of bands around now. I could probably name 10 bands. Of course, I won't give anybody credit where credit's due because it's our spotlight.
We are the stars.
There's a lot of bands. Basically, it's a house divided. The whole scene is a house divided, and we're in the other room. There's a lot of bands. Most of them hate each other. Most bands spend too much time just hating other bands.
Yeah.
And you know, really, we don't even care. I mean, there's bands that won't even play with us because they're just such wimps. They think they're punk rock, and they're not. They're not at all.
It's kind of like
They're just-
having lunch at Brown's Chicken in Palatine.
Have you noticed there's that new that one pizza place? You know,
Papa John's?
no, it's got a hut, Pizza Hut.
Oh,
They got that new commercial out for the Steak Lovers Pizza.
yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but every time that they say that, every time that Domino's answers and says, no, we don't have Steak Lovers Pizza, that's the only black person you'll ever see in that show. Is in that commercial is only the black people in Domino's. In other words, they're saying that black people aren't nearly as good as steak. So,
Well, I'd agree with that. You know, I wasn't their promotion man.
have you tried a black person before?
Well, once when I was on Flight 962 and we were all stranded up in the Alps, and I mean, we had no other choice but to eat human flesh, you know, or die.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what choice did we have?
Well,
we had matches, we had black people, and, you
Do you
know,
have any
we
white
had a
people?
surgical knife.
Yeah, it was an amateur surgical unit we were trying out for. You know, we just wanted.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to wrap this session of our show up. We're going to go to a commercial real quick, and we'll come back with Bloody Mess and Kevin Beverage. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was just a little bit of video from Bloody Mess and the Skabs live at Airwaves Rock and Roll Skate Emporium. They probably don't want to be referred to that as that, but I don't care.
Yes.
Now Gabby will sit in the couch. We'll get on with the interview.
Yeah, that was the clip from a show we did at Airwave Skate Park in downtown Peoria quite recently. That was a song called Chewing the Fat, which is our song about Jeffrey Dahmer, one of our inspirations, and of course, we hope to have him do one of our next album covers.
Now, you've written to several killers, I guess. Is that what they are?
Yeah.
How do you get a hold of them? How do you find out where they're at? How do you?
Well, there's a whole network of like murder groupies, and
yeah?
that's one word to call them, and they all keep in touch. All I got to do is make a phone call and get Manson's or whatever. By the way, speaking of Kevo Beverage, our bass player Kevin's right here on the set now.
Right. I forgot to introduce him, and I'm very sorry. That's Kevin Beverage.
This is Kevin Beverage, the bass player of the band. We call him Master Bates once in a while, but he's a good chap there. He's a good lad. He's provides some great bass licks for the band, as well as a lot of fun because he's so fucking because he's so funny.
Censor that. Forgive me for not introducing you, Kevo.
No problem.
Okay.
I'll get you later.
Yeah, see me at Doc Rock, or see me at main event at 4 in the morning. I'll talk to you then. You've been described as glam shock rock with a cross into hardcore punk. Would you say this is an accurate description of your music?
Really, it can be accurate. It can be inaccurate. We're not glam as far as like playing like sounding like Poison or something. Glam is just looking glamorous. We're glamorous, man. We try to look good. We try to feel good because we know
You guys are pretty.
Because the sex symbols that we are, we've got to maintain the sexy image. Of course, it all comes off when the pants come off. But we're a punk rock band. You can call us whatever you want. Shock rock. You can call us sleaze rock. You can call us trash rock. You can call us human filth if you want. I just say we're punk rock. What do you think?
I agree with you. I kind of like shock rock.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It's more of a media name, but it's not something we purposely call ourselves. But people do tend to get shocked by our rock, so I guess we're shock rock.
And I've seen you guys quite a few times. Never been disappointed by a performance, by a show. Every time I've seen you, I've always been entertained. I've always enjoyed the music because, well, I guess I just like it.
The intensity.
That's probably part of it. That's probably a good part of it. What you have to say is another part of it. just any show that any person would go to see of these guys, you will not be disappointed. Unless, of course, you're like 90 years old and into big bands and you think Benny Goodman is God. And by the way, he's not, because, well, I am.
He's dead.
But you know, these guys are good band to see.
Adam, what did you like about, you know, the intensity of our lyrics?
I don't really pay attention
Lyrical
until I
content.
look at them later. I catch on to a few things here and there. You busted me on that one, man. I know your lyrics. I know old Bloody Mess lyrics with hate. I know some with the Skabs. I can honestly say I do not know all the lyrics deep down inside. I don't know the new stuff.
New stuff's really good.
But I saw you guys at Airwaves. I think the day that show that was just aired was on. I really enjoyed myself and just enjoyed seeing y'all.
Personally look forward definitely to getting that CD out. 12 tracks done, right? 12
Yeah,
tracks.
we are going to release a new compact disc sometime in 1993 that we've already recorded 10 tracks for. We have no idea what it's going to be called or anything yet, but it's going to be our best release yet. Believe me, this is going to be the one to really make people really listen to it with a different ear, or so to speak.
Yeah. Some people might consider your lyrics a bit offensive. What would you say to anyone who might condemn your band for being a bit too extreme?
I think there's no such thing as extreme or offensive. It's things like pornography, things like offensiveness and lyrical content. That's all. It all varies to a degree because everyone's got their own belief of what offensive is. To one guy, heaven is hell. To the next guy, hell is heaven. I mean, everyone's got their own little thresholds that they cross over. Just like the Doors song, "Break On Through to the Other Side." I believe we've broken on through many times, and we've lived life on the edge for so many years that I don't even know what normal is anymore. I don't even know what it means. I have no idea, and I could care less if people are offended. It makes me laugh. To tell you the truth, it makes me giggle. I mean, if they're offended, that's their problem. Who cares? We're not trying to be the Wally and Beaver Cleaver of punk rock. We don't care what this band down the road thinks because whatever. We just don't care about that. We do what we want to do. That's it. Period.
You basically are in the band to basically state your beliefs, right? Because you're not making much money off it, are you?
No, we're not in it for financial reasons, believe me. We're in it because we like it. It's an outlet for aggression, which is great. If you talk to any psychiatrist, they'll tell you natural aggression is healthy, man. We don't go out to hurt other people, but we don't like to be hurt ourselves unless we do it to ourselves. But we're not into that. It's an outlet for aggression, and it lets out a lot of the hatred and stress that builds up on just living in this planet of filth, this horrible, overrun, populated crap that we live in, we call life, which is
fungus.
It's a revolving fungus, and it's all fantasy. There's no reality. This is all a joke. Everyone goes around creating their own little worlds, these little teeny subdivisions of life that they call life. It's all just a big fantasy land. It's like Disneyland, but it's real, but it's not. Anyway, so we do it, and then if we didn't do it, we'd probably be locked up, and we'd be doing our record covers for other punk bands. So, I mean, it's a healthy outlet for us.
How did you meet up with Black and Blue Records?
Black and Blue contacted us through the mail several times in the mid-'80s, and we never wrote back to them. I never wrote them. I never responded. And then once the SKABS had started, they wrote me again, and they were like, look, I guess people can't be friends with people like you. We've written to you. We wanted to sign your band to a record label, and you never respond. So we finally did, and now we got a record label. We finally hooked up with them in like 89 or 90 or something, and we've been with them ever since. And they take care of us, and we like them. Hi, Peter.
Are you pleased to have a record label, or would you prefer not to?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's great because we'd still do it even if we just made tapes. We'd still be doing what we do. But it gives us more of a satisfaction to know that the stuff we write and the music we play and the intensity that goes on to the grooves of the record or the CD, it's nice to know that it's going across the world. I mean, we have international distribution in Europe, everywhere. And it's nice to know that somewhere on some Friday night there might be one kid in Alaska or Portugal listening to our record, smoking pot or whatever kids do for fun these days, enjoying themselves instead of buying the new Van Hagar record, for instance, or something.
I want to put a little plug in for the West German release that's going to be...
Yeah, we were contacted by a record label from West Germany recently, and they want to do a 45 in the summer or spring.
Are you going to do that?
Well, yeah, I think we're going to release a live record because of contractual problems. We can't release anything new, we found out, because we are signed to Black and Blue for 5 years. So we're probably going to have to release a live SKABS record, which is great. Probably live in Nashville, Tennessee or something, maybe. I don't know.
So what's your favorite flavor of popsicle?
I'd have to say the aborted pig fetus tastes the best when it's been soaked in formaldehyde for a while, you know.
I haven't had that flavor. Yours?
What's your
Candle
favorite
beverage?
popsicle?
Beer?
Beersicle.
Beersicle.
He's the roving drunk of the band.
Whiskicle.
Whiskey sickle.
I've been out with this guy a few times, and he is truly the roving band, drunk of the band.
Yeah, he's our classic English pub drinking man, mate.
Okay, now I've got a query for you. Now, if I have a rooster and you have a donkey, and your donkey eats the feet off my rooster, what do you have?
A roosterless donkey.
No, 2 feet of my cock and your ass.
Oh, that's a good one.
Boom.
Better censor that too. We want this to be on the air. So to the guy that watches this, please put us on the air. Come on.
That's completely within the lines.
No censorship. No censorship.
Okay, recently with the new wave of grunge rock topping the charts, the resurgence of punk rock seems to be right around the corner. What would you say is the reason for this
Buy this record. Make us rich.
renewed interest in punk rock?
It's money, purely money, man. These people that run these record labels and stuff, they're all phonies. People call Red Hot Chili Peppers and Nirvana and Pearl Jam alternative. There's nothing alternative about these guys. Nothing. They're mass marketed. They're complete capitalist whores. And we are not involved in that, nor would we ever compromise. If somebody said, here's a punk rock's big now, we want to cash in on the Skabs. You guys got what it takes to sell some records. Sign here. We'd say, fine, let get our lawyers here. Let's read this. We are not going to compromise. We produce our own records. We will not compromise our lyrical content. And we just got to say, that's it. We could care less about these crappy bands on 106.
So the Seattle sound does not interest you
I
at
think
all?
it's stupid, boring, and ignorant.
Do you
It's trendy.
ever-
It's all money, man. Money,
you ever
money,
hope
money,
to
money,
see
money.
a Peoria sound?
There is a Peoria sound, really, because there's a lot of
But-
bands around here that have their own sound, man. There's a lot
So-
of varied, you know.
Okay.
I guess it's about time to wrap
Well,
this thing up.
yeah,
Yeah?
Wrap it up.
that's the way it's looking.
We appreciate your having us on your show.
Oh, geez,
Brother?
my pleasure.
We love you, honey. We'll thank you on the next one, brother. Yeah.
You guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time on Adam Pictures Talking Atcha. I think we're out of here.
Buy our records.